I'm a deep-sea diver working for a criminal ring. Something has gone very, very wrong on our last mission. If you're confused, you should start at the beginning. I staggered backwards from the bloated thing edging closer. My mind was screaming at me to run, to escape. But it was as if my limbs were made of lead. "John," screamed Haley. The name tore me from my terrified stupor. Flee, flee. That one word, that one concept, was all I knew. I turned in. There was nowhere to run. We were on a ship. Miles of moonlit water stretched away in every direction. Jumping overboard was suicide. The only way away from Thomas was below deck. But it stood blocking the only way down. We backed away from it, knocking into the deck railing. Nowhere to run. The Thomas thing dragged itself closer. I couldn't see his face, shrouded in the dark of his helmet. Haley held up her hands as if to ward the thing away. "Thomas, please, lay," it crooned, stumbling towards us. Something snapped in my mind. Flight was not an option. Fight took over. I screamed in rage and terror and jumped forward, lashing out with my fists at the thick glass faceplate covering Thomas' head. I didn't even get close. It grabbed me in its malformed arms, drawing me closer in a demented mockery of an embrace, bringing my face to its own. I saw something move in the deep shadow there, something that might have once been human, but wasn't any longer. Haley saved me before I could see more. She pulled desperately at my shoulders. I slipped from the thing's grip. It stumbled for a second, off balance. "Down," she yelled. Below deck. She slipped past the thing in Thomas' suit as it staggered. I leapt after her, narrowly avoiding a grasping hand that seemed to swell and extend, only just missing me. Then we were below deck, stumbling through the dark metal corridor. "In here," I yelled, pointing at the abandoned control room. We fell inside, slamming the door shut behind us. I dragged a metal cabinet in front of it, blocking the room off. Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. We held our breaths. The door shook suddenly as a terrible force struck it. Haley buried her face in her hands. The door shook again and again. Then, silence. We waited with bated breath. We could hear the thing on the other side, the sound of its demented shuffling, the straining of the suit as whatever was beneath it stretched and twisted. The footsteps came again, this time receding. It staggered away, making its slow way up the stairs and onto the deck. I breathed a sigh of relief. Haley crawled over to me. "Are you all right? Did it hurt you?" she asked. I think I'm all right," I answered, checking myself. A chill ran down my back as I realized I'd almost seen the thing's face. Well, I had seen it, and it had driven him to suicide. "What the hell do we do?" I asked. "There's no way out of this room. No rations, no water, nothing. We're trapped. Let's try to think. What do we have?" We looked around, taking stock of the situation. 3 computers, a radio linked to Thomas' diving suit, winch controls, perfect if we want to send someone down. "Not that helpful right now," I said finally. Haley rubbed her eyes and took a deep breath. "We need to get in contact with the higher-ups. This has gone way beyond our control." I nodded. I was hoping we'd manage this alone. They won't be happy about this. Not really an option anymore, though. "Fuck them," Haley said with feeling. "They must have known what we were looking for. They knew the dangers and they chose not to tell us. We finish this, and then I'm done with them." She pulled out her phone and punched in a number. I heard the dial tone. After a few seconds, someone picked up. "Status," came a voice, heavily accented, from the other side. "This is Haley. We need help, right now." "Status," a voice repeated. "Is the objective secure?" "There is no objective. Damn you," Haley swore. "Before tonight, none of us would have dared speak like that to our employers. Now, it didn't seem like something to worry about. Whatever was aboard the Yahai, it escaped." She carried on. "It's taken Thomas. Mai is dead. Jonathan and me are taking cover in the control room. We need help right now." There was no answer. In the background, we could hear several voices speaking rapidly in Chinese. I didn't understand their words, but it sounded like an argument. "Hello?" Haley asked angrily. "Did you hear us? We need help, right now." The voices squabbled on. I grabbed the phone from Haley's hands. My temper had ran out. What the fuck was aboard the Yahai? "Tell me, god damn it." The arguing stopped. "Shui Gui," the voice said. The line went dead. "Damn it," Haley yelled, throwing the phone away. "So that's it," I said incredulously. "After years and years, that's it. They're just abandoning us. Cowards," Haley hissed. "They don't even have the balls to tell us what it is, let alone save us from their own mistakes. How the hell do we stop this thing?" I asked incredulously. "We don't even know what it is. How do we stop it?" I looked over at Haley. Her face was thoughtful, concentrated. A burst of hope penetrated the fog of desperation that had fallen on me. "You've got a plan, don't you?" "It'll be dangerous," she admitted. "There's no certainty it will work. And even if it does, we may not survive." It can't be worse than what we're dealing with right now, I answered, crawling over to her. What are you thinking? The thing is still in the suit, she said. It can't get out. I don't know why, but if it could, it would be out already. Maybe it's bound to Thomas' body. Somehow, I said. Yeah, that might be it, whatever the reason. I think it needs to stay above water, if it wanted to be in the sea. There's nothing stopping it from just jumping overboard. It's staying here, though. Why? Why would it stay? Maybe it wants to get to dry land. Maybe it can't escape the suit on its own and needs someone to get it out. I really don't know, but whatever the reason, we can exploit it. How? It's gone above deck now. We sneak out, get to the engine room. I'll prime the fuel tanks to explode. Once that's done, we sprint onto the deck and jump overboard before it can get us. Ship goes down, that thing goes with it. Despite the situation, I raised my eyebrow in mock surprise. Where did you learn how to rig ships to explode? Haley smiled grimly and tapped her nose. I have to keep some secrets, right? I stood up and began pacing the room, running through the plan in my head. What if it follows us into the water? I asked. It can't. The suit will drag it to the bottom of the sea if it tries. There's life vests here, I said. That'll give us more of a chance in the water. Exactly, Haley answered. We know the government has ships somewhere in this area. Once the engines blow up, they might come investigate. They might pick us up. We just need to stay afloat for a few hours. And if they don't, Haley shrugged. If we stay here, we'll die, at least this way. We have a chance. I was still for a few seconds. Finally, I nodded. Let's do it, then, slowly, trying not to make any sound. We dragged the cabinet away from the door. Every sound seemed terribly loud, certain to draw attention. We listened intently for any sound that might suggest we'd been detected. No stomping of heavy metal boots. No sound of the thing dragging itself down the stairs. Nothing. Let's go, I whispered, silently. We unsealed the door and swung it open. The corridor was dark as we crept down it. Every shadow held the threat of death. Every sound seemed to echo through the ship like an alarm. Somehow, we reached the engine room without incident. Keep watch, Haley hissed at me. This will take a while. She crept away into the dark towards the massive diesel generators and fuel tanks that powered our ship. Everything was silent. I crouched in the shadows, eyes on the door, heart hammering. Somewhere behind me, Haley was rummaging among the machinery for tools and material. I willed her to move faster. It seemed like hours passed, even though it was only a few minutes. Once, I heard the footsteps of the thing in Thomas' suit, somewhere above us. I waited with bated breath, but the sound died off slowly. Finally, I heard Haley creep over to me. All done, she whispered. We've got 2 minutes till this blows. We have to move. We set off through the dark. The stairs above deck loomed in front of us, illuminated by moonlight like a stairway to heaven. It was strangely beautiful. 1 minute left, Haley hissed, ready to make a run for it. Yeah, let's do this. On 3, then. 1, 2, 3. We leapt forward, jumping up the first 2 steps. I could see the sky. We were so close to. Something huge suddenly loomed above us. The light of the moon was cut off. I screamed in shock and fell backwards down the stairs, crawling desperately away from it. Haley was not so fortunate. She cried out in pain as the thing caught her, wrapping her into a demented embrace. It whispered something I couldn't hear. Haley's screams doubled in terror. I ran. I wish I had stayed. I wish I had tried to help my friend. I'm not proud of it, but I ran like a coward. The only way up was blocked, and so my brain, fueled by instincts older than man, drove me back to the last place of safety I knew. As I ran into the control room, the entire ship shook with a massive blast. I lost my footing and fell to the ground, striking my head against the metal floor. Everything spun around me. Haley's screams stopped abruptly, crawling on all fours, dazed and disoriented. I slammed the door shut and sealed it, then dropped to the ground, sobbing with fear and shame. The ship groaned around me. I could feel it moving, listing, taking on water. The sound of rushing water came through the walls. I've been listening to that sound for quite some time. It won't be long now. The ship will slip beneath the waves. The dark will rush in, and then it'll all be over. I'm writing this on the one surviving computer in the control room. I guess it's my epitaph. Or perhaps a confession of my cowardice. I wasn't a good person, but I want someone to know what happened out here. I want someone to know how my friends died. And perhaps I want someone to remember me, too. I've put this story into the cloud and set it to publish as soon as possible. Hopefully someone will read it. Hopefully someone will remember us. I never wanted to go out by drowning. No deep sea diver does. It's a horrible, painful death. But now, it doesn't seem so bad. In fact, it's what I'm hoping for, because there is an alternative. I can hear Thomas The thing that was Thomas, through the door. "Come out, Jonathan," he croons and gurgles. "Come out. I'm ready to take the suit off."